College Autonomous Iringalakura. Thresholds 2020 is an orientation class, a foundational session to motivate young brains to attain their paramount pursuits, to break the hard nut of civil service dreams. At the outset of the event, I'm glad beyond measures to invite and welcome our beloved head of the department, Dr. Hemalata P., the indomitable force behind our every action and thought. And I invite uh, Dr. Reverend Dr. Father Jolly Andrews on screen, on whom the honors of every event and activities organized and conducted in our college is perfectly placed to render the presidential address. Over to you, Father.
Okay, am I audible? Am I clear?
Y- Yes, Father, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. So now, respected Dr. Hamalada, the coordinator of the English Self-Financing English Department, PG Department, the organizing secretary, who are eagerly attending this webinar, national webinar, the strategies of achieving civil service dream. A very outset, I'm very happy to see that the Department of English has organized this wonderful webinar titled Threshold 2020 Cornerstone to Civil Service. I would like to make a few mention about the history of this Christ College, which was started in 1956 by the Devamada province of Carmelites of Mary Immaculate, an indigenous religious congregation that was founded in 1831 by Saint Kuriakos Elias Chavra. He was a very saintly priest, was a versatile genius who always saw education as a tool for liberation and development. The institution is founded as per the provisions of the Indian Constitution and is a minority one, affiliated to the University of Calicut and re-accredited by NAC with the highest grade A. The Christ College is dedicated to Christ and as its motto, Jivida Prabha, which means the light of life. The Christ College is a part of a century old tradition of CMI education, which offers an ideal vision of education that is aware of and responsive to the challenges of the nation's present situation. College became one of the prominent epicenters of academic training in the country thanks to the visionary leadership given to it by its first principal Padma Bhushan, Father Gabriel. Colleges at present 27 UG programs, 16 PG programs, and 11 departments having PhD research guides. College also offers 21 certification programs which are of immense use in the job market. And as at present, 3,860 students, the largest number in Kerala. College is also entered into the Memorandum of Understanding with the University of Zululand, South Africa, and Leibniz Institute for Applied Geophysics, Germany, which presents the student with an international exposure opportunity. The Christ campus is a lush, green, beautiful one, which is one of the lucky locations for many feature films. A casual walk through the campus will definitely help one to strengthen one's immune situation. Now we think of the public health, the health, especially our own health these days. Now, because of the new models of education that has to be evolved in the wake of present pandemic crisis. Now, I'm very happy to see that our college has already ventured into the e-learning platforms before this COVID-19 struck. I'd like to say a word about Christ Open Courseware, which includes video tutorials and our YouTube channel, Christ Open Courseware YouTube channel, has at present more than 200 high quality video tutorials prepared by our faculty members. Now, I think the Christ College is giving the right leadership in the terms of quality online learning mechanism. Now, in this present situation, I would like to make a few mention about the dreams of the students who are aspiring for the civil service. It is, of course, a dream for many of the students, but this dream can be achieved if we have got the right way of cracking it. Of course, we have seen a lot many students aspiring to become civil servants, but not been able to come up with a right amount of the training which would help them to conquer, or I would say, which help them to clear these examinations. Now we are happy to have this wonderful webinar, which is in a way evolving, which is in a way presenting the strategies. These strategies are of achieving and fulfilling our civil service dreams. I know there are lot many students who would be interested in this webinar, and I especially congratulate the depart the Department of English in especially coming forward with this wonderful webinar. So have a wonderful time, and those who have participated in this webinar, may they be able to clear this civil service examination in a bright color, in a wonderful manner. May God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you very much for your earnest words. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the most important and the much awaited event of the day. It is indeed a privilege for me to invite on screen our esteemed resource person of the day, Coast Coordinator of Civil Service Academy, Trivandrum, Mr. Srijesh MG, to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, and good morning, all. First of all, I would like to express my thanks, and it's a proud moment. That means I got a chance to interact with the students in the Christ College, and here I would like to express my thanks to Hemalada, ma'am, a special thanks, and Principal sir. Here, a proud moment, and especially to guide the students who are preparing or who would like to attend the civil service examination. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. We move on to the session, the orientation session. I hope you can begin the session, sir, right now.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Let's start.
Yes, sir, we can start.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Let me go to the PPT.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We have
Okay.
the presentation here.
Okay. Let's start our session. Uh, Okay, today is our webinar about the strategies for achieving civil service dreams. We know that to get into Indian civil service is one of the toughest as far as some students who are preparing or who would like to attend this exam in this coming year. So here in this session, we are going to explain all about the civil service examination, at the same time how to prepare, how to crack in this exam through the proper strategies or proper planning. So before that, we know that the two types of aspirants in civil service examination. The first group who are reading or preparing something, but they have no correct idea to the path into civil service. And the second group is that they are very planned focused, but unfortunately some of them didn't get into the correct idea because of the lack of correct planning or implementation or the correct guidance. So here in this session, we can explain about the civil service structures and stages. Is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. You're
Okay.
audible.
Okay.
It's very clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then we can discuss about the structure, stages, and recruitment and services, syllabus, evaluation level based, cutoff over the years, myths and facts, and the last one is strategies, classification of phase 1, 2, and 3 levels of preparation. These are the main contents we are going to explain in this session. Okay, before to start the detailed plan or detailed strategy, we can discuss what is civil service exam. We know that civil service is the highest post or highest government service in India. But basically, most of the people think that it's very hard and it's very toughest exam. At some extent, it's true, but this exam demands our discipline, plans, hard work with our smart work. So shortly, we can say that this examination is a toughest exam, but at the same time, we can achieve it through our hard work, plan study, and smart work. Okay, let us discuss about the civil service exam, the structure and stages. Which are the structures and stages of this exam? And this examination is conducted by Union Public Service Commission. We know that this UPSC is a central recruiting agency, and this agency is conducted this exam every year, and the duration of this examination itself is 1 year. That means start in a month and ends the next year. That means the 1 year long preparation strategy is required in this exam. And this exam consists of 3 tiers. That means the 3 steps of these 3 stages. That one, preliminary examination, mains examination, and personality test. And before we think to prepare about this exam, we have to make a correct plan how to prepare prelims, mains, and personality test. Here the personality test means interview. And some basic information or basic ideas regarding these examinations are the criteria. That means the age limits, the number of attempts, how can we apply for this exam, all these. The criteria of this exam, that means the eligibility of this exam is graduation. That means a basic degree from a recognized university approved by the UGC. A person, when he passed this graduation, he can apply for this exam. And the age limit for this examination is 32 years for general category, and the number of attempts is 6. And in case of OBC, other backward caste, then the 35 years of age, they can appear for this exam, but the number of attempts is 9. And the third group, that means scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, an aspirant from SC or ST, they can attend and they can attend this exam with unlimited chance, but the age is 37. These are the main criteria we have to remember whenever we start preparing for this exam. Then, the next slide we can discuss the stages of the exam and the time. Here, generally, UPSC announced the notification of preliminary examination. We know that that's the first stage of this exam. That is a preliminary examination is an objective type, so it's a qualifier examination, and normally this notification released in February or March every year, and this examination, preliminary examination, will be conducted generally on May or June. Then the mains examination, and after completing the preliminary examination, and the person who qualified this preliminary examination, they can sit for the mains, and it's an descriptive examination or subjective type ranking exam, and it will conduct on September or October every year. And the last stage of this exam is personality test. It's also a ranking examination, and personality test means we know that the communication session, that means a face-to-face communication with the interview board of Union Public Service Commission, and this interview will be held on January or February in the next year. So this is the normal pattern or the stages of the exam. And after completing these stages, Union Public Service Commission will release the final result on May or June. After 2 months or 3 months, UPSC will release the final list, the person who qualified or achieved the services. So let's look into the recruitment and services. What are the services offered by UPSC? The All India services, mainly the services of this exam, divided into 3. All India services, Group A and Group B. Here, Indian Administrative Service or IAS, IPS and IFS. These 3 services are famous in India, and almost all candidates appearing for this exam demands or wish to become IAS, IPS or IFS because of the colorful of this profile, highly respectful rank and position. All these are very attractive in case of these 3 services. We know that whenever you reach into the IAS, you start your service from an assistant collector, and each 2 years you will change your profile. That means you change your position into the sub-collector, a director, district collector, chairman, secretary, etc. And in case of Indian Police Service, you will posted as the first time, you will posted as an assistant commissioner, then DCP, SP, commissioner of police, like that. These are the service, or this is a posting allotment here. And in case of Indian Foreign Services, a candidate will be appointed as the Group 3 secretary, Group 2nd secretary, and then secretary for the central government, ambassadors, like that. So these are the divisions of posting you can get from these 3 services. Besides this, we know that there are 21 other services that divided into 2, Group A services and Group B services. The Group A services are here: Indian Account Service, then Revenue Service, Defense, Revenue, Ordnance, then Ordnance Work Managers, and Postal Service, Customs, Intelligence, etc. All these, etc., are the services offered by Union Public Service Commission. And the Group B services are mainly concentrate with Union Territories. You can serve Union Territories of India, Andaman and Nicobar services, Pondicherry services, etc. Is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Then next we can go to the syllabus. You can get the detailed syllabus from the official website of UPSC. That means www.upsc.gov.in. Here we can discuss the general studies areas of prelims and the CSAT areas. So these are the two areas we can discuss in this slide. Here we know that CSAT is now a qualifier. That means CSAT means Civil Service Aptitude Test. Here, Civil Service Aptitude Test till 2015, UPSC added marks from CSAT also, but in from 2015 onwards, this CSAT paper became a qualifier. That means you can you score this 33% of mark. That means the 66 marks. Whenever you scored 66 marks in CSAT, you can enter to the valuation level of general studies. That means paper 1. So here, general studies paper 1 is important in the current process. The current process of this exam, general studies is important. Here, the general studies paper includes 7 important areas, but in case of CSAT, it includes 6 syllabus areas. Let's look into the general studies, the trends of general studies. Here, I marked the number of questions, the trends of questions in different topics according to the civil service previous question papers, especially the last 5 years question papers. You know that 2011 to 2019, the number of questions varies from each to another. Like this, the environment is a major part. So we can say that the main important areas of general studies syllabus are 7. That means current issues and events, national and international importance, history of India and Indian national movement. Third one is Indian polity and governance, constitution, political system, Panchayati Raj, public policies, rights issues, etc. And the fourth, next one is the geography of India and world, the physical geography, economic geography, political geography, etc. includes in this topic. And the next one is Indian economy, and that means Indian economy syllabus areas covers the demographics, poverty, population issues. All these areas will be covered. And the last one is the environment. Environment is the 6th area of prelims general studies paper. Here, environment paper, we want to thoroughly go through the newspapers, and we have to update the information regarding environmental and climate related issues from the newspaper and the internet. And the last topics in general studies paper 1, civil service prelims, that is general science. That means the science here. Here are the 7 areas include in general studies paper 1. Then in case of CSAT, there are 6 areas, and we want to score 33% of marks in CSAT. Here, let's look into the mains exam. We already said that civil service preliminary examination consists of 2 papers for 400 marks. And this out of these 400 marks, general studies paper mark is counted. At the same time, CSAT is a qualifier. In case of mains, we have 9 papers. General studies paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and paper 4. These 4 general studies paper carries 1000 marks. And besides these 2 compulsory papers or qualifying papers here, that is language paper, Indian language. We know that according to the 8th schedule of Indian Constitution, which includes 8 schedule of Indian Constitution consists of 22 languages. So here the language paper means Indian languages. That means a candidate from Kerala, that is, he can opt Malayalam as a regional language, and that paper for 300 marks, and English. These 2 papers are compulsory and or qualifying paper. And besides this, optional papers are divided into 2. Carries 250 marks each. And the last one is essay paper, 250 marks. These are the 9 important papers for mains examination. Then let's go through the evaluation level based. That means how UPSC evaluate the answer sheet or the marking. Here, preliminary examination consists 400 marks, is an objective pattern, and general studies paper 200 marks. The number of questions is 100. That means each question carries 2 marks. Then CSAT is a qualifier, an 80 number of questions, and 2.5 marks for each questions. Then let's look into the cutoff levels. Then in the recent trends, UPSC's cutoffs balanced between 90 to 110 out of 200. These are the trends of cutoff in the recent, especially the last 5 years of cutoff mark level. And next into mains examination, the total marks for mains is 1,750 marks. Here it's a descriptive examination, we already said, and including 9 papers and 2 qualifying papers and 7 ranking papers. Here the expected cutoff, the 650 to 800. That means out of 1,750 marks, if a candidate scored 650 plus or 700 plus marks, he will receive an interview call from UPSC. That's a trend. And the next last stage of this exam is personality test. Here personality test covers 275 marks. It's an interactive session by the panel members of UPSC. And this cutoff, an approximate cutoff is 100 plus marks out of 275. These are the mark evaluation or marking system of UPSC. Then here you can see the overall cutoffs over the years from 2014 to 2018. That means till 2014 the 2 papers are counted, but from 2015 only GS paper marks considered. That means the mark varies from 95 to 110. That's the difference. The overall cutoff varies from each year. So let's go to the other areas of this examination. We know that whenever a student or whenever a person starts preparing for civil service examination, we can hear a lot of myths or a lot of comments from outside, especially our friends, families, and society. That is the myths. Here the myths and facts about the civil service examination. Let's discuss what's the myths regarding this examination. We know that we always think about this is a toughest exam. And commonly there's a comment that civil service examination is a mother of all examination. But actually it's not true. The mother of all examination is our life. We can fail in IAS exam or civil service examination or all other examination, but not in life. That means it's a myth. It's only a myth or a false comment we can hear from outside, especially our colleagues, our friends, society, family, or etc. Here, the next one is an aspirant or a student in the field of civil service need to study 50 to 20 hours a day. It's impossible. You have to invest maximum 5 to 10 hours or 5 to 8 hours of time. It's enough. If you continue or consistent work or constantly you are preparing or reading or writing your this notes and materials between the time of 5 hours to 8 hours, it's enough to crack this exam. And the next one is you need to be a topper throughout your academics. It's another comment you can hear from the society or outside whenever you start preparing for this exam. That means you have to score the gold medal, you have to be a rank holder from a university, or you have to be an all-rounder like that. All these are false or not true. You can attend this exam, you can apply this exam with your just passed mark. You just pass. There is no conditions. There is no demand or conditions of percentage of mark whenever you apply for this exam. If you are just passed from a recognized university, or if you are just a degree holder, you can attend this exam and you will clear. A lot of persons are from the Kerala itself, just passed, or they failed in SSLC or other classes. They actually after that they worked hard and reached the services. So it's a false comment. Then next myth that coaching is must. You have to go to the Delhi or Hyderabad or other metropolitan cities to train yourself. All these are meaningless. That means you can sit in your home with valuable materials, internet, and correct guidance. You can prepare yourself and you can clear this exam. All these are the myths regarding this examination. Then next we are going to explain about the strategies for IAS exam. Here the phase 1, we already discussed, said that there are 3 phases of the preparation. That means phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. The phase 1, what is phase 1 here? The strategies for IAS examination is the phase 1 is the role of newspaper. You have to start read newspaper whenever you start thinking about civil service. That means without current affairs, without newspaper, you can't clear prelims itself. So here the newspaper is very important whenever we go through the syllabus of prelims, mains and interview. Here, let's look into the percentages of marks from current affairs. Here current affairs means directly from the newspaper. That means the 50 to 65 percentages of marks holds current affairs in preliminary examination itself. That means out the 100 questions are there, and of this 100 you can see that 50 plus questions directly or indirectly from current affairs. That means current affairs is very, very important whenever you start preparing. That means with the help of the material, it's only the materials, you can't clear the prelims. You have to follow current affairs, you have to follow the newspaper, you have to follow other mediums like this, magazines, news channels, etc. In case of mains examination, that means we said that there are 4 general studies papers in mains examination, descriptive type exam, plus your optional paper itself. You can choose an optional paper. All these areas covers with current affairs. That means mains examination also dominates the highest top score level of marks from current affairs. And the last one is personality test. In case of personality test, you have to understand about the issues and events which are happening around us. That means you have to be steady, or you have to be follow your own perspectives regarding the issues and events which are happening around you. That will be the questions in interview or the interview board. So here we can conclude that newspapers are very, very, very important whenever you start preparing for this exam. So in the next slide, we can discuss about newspaper, how to read newspaper, and how to prepare notes from newspaper. So in this slide, we can discuss the importance of newspapers and its values and your notes. And here, normally the Hindu or Indian Express are the national dailies. The English newspaper is the best option when you select the newspaper. Besides this, you can go through the regional newspaper. That means Malayalam Manorama, Madhrubhumi, like that. Besides this English newspaper, you can go through the regional newspaper. Just go through this daily. Then, how to classify news? How can we classify our news from this newspaper? Here, we can classify newspaper into 5 divisions. Remember that the 5 divisions: national newspaper, national news, international news, economic news, environmental news, and science and technology. Here are the 5 steps, 5 sections you have to be analyzed whenever you go through the newspaper. It may be Hindu or a regional newspaper. Then what is national newspaper? National news means the news, events or issues which is happening around or inside India. That means the states inside the states of India, and the prime ministers meetings with, and new inaugurations, climate. All these are national. It may be the economical or physical or state-wise, etc. Then what is international news? Here, international news means world news, but you can read and write notes from international news at the same time, more focused on this news importance to India. What means the news, how this news play an important to the Indian context. Whenever the prime minister visits US or America, and if he signed an agreement, you have to note what's the agreement and what's the role of this agreement in India and this India's development. So this is international news. You have to analyze the international importance of India and how this news played an important role in India's development. Then next is economic news. Here we can see the question papers, prelims, mains, and interview as well. The number of questions from business or number of questions from economic level directly from or indirectly from the Hindu or the National Daily. That means here economic news means whenever you read the Hindu newspaper, you go through the business page. The last portion of the newspaper, business, we know that we can see the business page. And from this business page, you have to read day-to-day improvement of the economic development of the country, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, India's new economic policies, monetary policies, SEBI, Security and Exchange Board of India, and its new important measures, policies. All these you have to note down, note and study it. This is economic news. In the recent trends, according to the recent trends of UPSC, almost all questions from the Hindu. That means almost all questions are current affairs oriented. So you have to give more focused on economic page. Here there is no economic page in Hindu. I said in Hindu we can see a business page. That is the economic page, or that is the economic news. Then the next one is environmental news. How can we study? How can we prepare the environmental news? We know that environmental news means in syllabus environment and climate change. Here regarding the climatic conditions and floods and other ozone depletion and like that. Okay, environmental issues and events which are happening in India or abroad. That means environmental summits, programs, like that. The rivers, river Ganges and its problems, then river dolphins, and the protected animals and their problems, extinct animals and plants, etc. All these are included in environmental news. And whenever you go through this environmental news, you have to make notes from the point of view of a civil service aspirant. And this is the importance of environmental news. Like economic news, environmental news are directly will appear to the prelims question papers. Then the last one is science and technology. How can we study the science and technology? You can use science and the conventional science from NCERT. At the same time, science and technology means the new inventions of the technology, new inventions of science in the field of medicine, technology, etc. We know that the hot topics, the current the topic is the COVID-19. It's a science news. You have to understand, you have to study what is COVID-19, what is coronavirus, all these. So this is included in the science and technology news. Excuse me, it's audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then the next slide, we are going to discuss about the role of editorial or open page in the newspaper. It's very important whenever we start preparing for the civil service examination, the editorial or op-ed page. Here, editorial page, you know that from the Hindu newspaper, you can see the editorial page between the 6th page to 8th page. There's a paper, there's a page, that is editorial means the mirror of the newspaper. That means they comment about an issue which happened in India or the world. At the same time, we can see the articles from the famous personalities, and you have to read the editorial and the op-ed page. So the editorial or op-ed page is named as the soul of the newspaper. At the same time, the soul of the civil service examination. You have to read and understand how this newspaper presented or how the issues happened, and what are the observations or what are the perspectives in this particular issue. So this is the role of editorial or op-ed page. Then here we can discuss the prelims question paper 2019. That means the last year's question paper. And here I presented the 5 sections of news. That means we already discussed we can divide the news into the 5 sections: national, international, economic, environment, and science and technology. And from the 2019 prelims question paper, I listed here the questions from each sections. From the national newspaper, there was a question in 2019, Maternity Benefit Amendment Act 2017. In this question, we can understand that you need not to read the Hindu from Hindu 2 years ago like that. So you just read the Hindu just before 1 year of the examination. Here, 2019 question. Here, Maternity Benefit Amendment Act. This is an act passed the Parliament of India regarding the development of women, especially the working woman. And here, this Maternity Benefit Amendment Act offers full paid absence from work. And the aim of this act was to protect the employment of women during the time of maternity. So this news was on newspaper Hindu. This question appeared in the 2019 question paper. Like that, you can go through the national newspaper. It may be regarding the policies and program, or and the new improvement of the country, like that, whatever. So this is the example of national news. And the next one is international news. In 2019 prelims question paper, there was a question regarding Denisovan. Here, Denisovan. What is Denisovan? It's a term appeared in the Hindu in 2019 Hindu newspaper. So here UPSC asked the question regarding Denisovan. Here, Denisovan is a human species, appeared in the middle or Paleolithic Central Asian region. It's a human species. Recently, the historians invented the DNA, and they invented the new DNA diversions of this, and it got the news value and appeared in the Hindu, and UPSC asked, what is Denisovan? So it's an international news. The example of international news appeared in 2019 preliminary question paper. And the next one is economic. Here, monetary policy is the section, and demonetization. We know that in India, demonetization happened. The old currencies are banned and the new currencies launched. regarding this issue, Indian economic patterns changed, and UPSC asked about the currency crisis, and which was on news recently and appeared in the business page of the Hindu, and it's an example of economic news. And the next one is environmental. Here, how UPSC asked environmental news. That was solid waste management rule 2016. Actually, this rule was introduced in 2016, but later it's amended in 2017 and 18 in the parliament. So this news became famous and became appeared repeatedly presented in the newspaper. So UPSC asked, what is solid waste management rule? It's a waste management rule across the urban settlement of India, and it includes 6 categories. That means plastics, e-waste, biomedical hazardous, construction, and demolition. All these are waste according to the new rule. And according to this new rule, India launched a new strict rule regarding the waste management, and this was on question in the UPSC. And the last one is science and technology. We are using Android phone, smartphone, and we can see the top LTE, VoLTE. That's a term and technical term we can see in our Android phone. And UPSC asked, what is that? Like that, we have to understand 3G, 4G, what is 4G, what is 3G, and what are the difference between 4G and 3G, what are the difference between Android phone and smartphone, like that. The common scientific terms we are using in our regular life or daily life. So here asked LTE and VoLTE. It's a news value. That means that they appeared in the news. That means it's a VoLTE, a launching from the Geo network, Reliance network, and they started a free call system, India and Japan, and that's why this term appeared in the newspaper, and UPSC asked, what is LTE and VoLTE? Like that, you have to follow all technical terms in our daily life. I said about the 3G, 4G, what is 4K and 4K resolution, what is LED, what is LCD, like that. All these are new science and technology, and you have to read. Whenever you see this news in the newspaper, you have to read, understand, and write notes about what is this. And all these are the trends of the questions of UPSC. Then next, we are discussing about role of internet. The role of internet in UPSC exam. That means internet playing an important role in IAS examination, and this internet can help to update and understand the background which created a social relevance now and then. That means how can we use an internet? I already said that this time we are in daily life we are hearing about COVID-19 and the coronavirus, like that. So you have to understand what is COVID-19, why this virus named as COVID-19, and what's the problem here, and what are the main scientific factors behind this. Like that, every news have its own background. So you have to search the background from internet. So here you have to Google. Whenever you read a newspaper, you have to Google it and write a note. That is the role of internet. And in order to do this, we have platform. That means Google, Wikipedia, and Government of India websites. Here, Government of India websites means we know that all departments of government have their own websites. For example, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, Ministry of Public Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Environment and Forest, like that. You have to, whenever you read a topic, you have to go through the websites of the Government of India and update it. How this program or policies implemented in India. We can get the information from the authorized or official website. So you can use Government of India's website plus Wikipedia and Google. Whenever you read a material or read a newspaper, you have to go through the Google and just search it. What is that? And make a note. Then next is we have to understand how to read, scrutinize, and make notes from the newspaper. Whenever you go through the Hindu, how can we analyze or how can we understand the news? That in order to do that, we can use this technique. That means the rule that's 5 W's and 1 H. What is 5 W and what is 1 H? Here 5 W's and 1 H means who, why, when, what, and where. These are the 5 W's. Whenever you read a newspaper, you have to think who is in this news, why this news, when, what, and where. Think about it and write. And the last one is how this incident happened in India, or why this incident, or why this is on why is it important in news, and who was the person behind this news, like that. You have to follow this technique whenever you prepare notes from newspaper. So here we can see today's newspaper, today's Hindu. From this newspaper, I can give the 5 important news from the Hindu. That means the first page of the Hindu, we can see the vaccine. That means not the Hindu, almost all newspapers in India will discuss about the virus and the COVID-19 cases. But here in the first page, we can read the UK vaccine trials, protective immune response in early tests. And these vaccinations or the scientific innovations are reported the Hindu in today's newspaper, the first page. And this next is the editorial page I pinned here. That means editorial page, the 6th page of the Hindu. And here India's challenge movements against COVID-19 pandemic is reported. That means this article written by Mr. Bobby John, and this article is very important, and it's a sample. It's a sample news. Whenever you start reading the newspaper, you have to go through the editorial here and go through this news and make notes. Another important article from today's Hindu, that the big reform on the wrong track. That is a news regarding the Indian Railway. We know that the government of India decided to privatize the Indian Railway. And this article was written by Mr. Stanley Babu, IPS. And this is an informative article. And from this article, we can understand what are the merits and demerits of the privatization of Indian Railway. So in this way, you have to prepare notes from the newspaper. And the next important article you can see in today's Hindu, that the template to manage temples is an article by Mr. K. Jayakumar, the former Chief Secretary of Kerala. And in this article, K. Jayakumar explained about the recent Supreme Court verdict or Supreme Court order on the Padmarama Swami temple in Trivandrum. Like this, you have to read. In this way, you have to read the newspaper. And there is a national news in today's paper, that is Chardam panel split on road works. It's a national news, and it's happened in Uttarakhand, and it's relating to the ecosystem. And this is a pilgrimage. It's a national highway crossing the pilgrimage, and it's reported in the Hindu. Then whenever you read this type of news, you have to notice the locations of India. And this is an 889 kilometer national highway. and covering the Kedarnath, Badrinath, Gangotri, and Yamunotri. All these are the facts filled in this news itself. So you have to read the newspaper, or you have to study the news in this news. Okay. The next one is an international news here in the Hindu, today's Hindu, that is Arab. That means the first Arab space mission, HOP. Arab space mission HOP launched, and this is also in the news today's in Hindu. And we discussed about Malayalam Manorama or Madhrubhumi, the regional newspaper in Kerala. ഇതുപോലുള്ള മലയാള മനോരമ, മാതൃഭൂമി പോലുള്ള പത്രങ്ങൾ വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ കൂടുതലായും ഉണ്ടാവുന്നത് രാഷ്ട്രീയ വാർത്തകളാണെന്ന് അതുകൊണ്ടും നമ്മുടെ പ്രാദേശികമായ വാർത്തകൾ, ജില്ലാ വാർത്തകൾക്കായിരിക്കും കൂടുതലായും പ്രാദേശിക മാധ്യമങ്ങൾ പ്രാധാന്യം കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. സോ ഇതിൽ നിന്നുള്ള കുറച്ച് പ്രധാനമായ കാര്യങ്ങൾ മാത്രം ഞാൻ ഇതിനെ ഹൈലൈറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇതുപോലുള്ള പത്രങ്ങൾ വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ പ്രധാനമായും ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് ദേശീയ പ്രാധാന്യമുള്ള വാർത്തകൾക്ക് പ്രാധാന്യം കൊടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. Then we can go to the phase 2. Phase 2 is the build up your basics with the NCERT. How to start your preparation with NCERT. We know that NCERT books can be divided in NCERT point of view. There are 4 important conventional subjects or conventional areas you have to build up, or you have to go through. That is geography, history, polity and constitution, and Indian economy. You can get the NCERT books from PDF format from Google. You can read it from 6th standard to 12th standard books. Here, geography. Whenever you start read the geography NCERT book, the geography can be divided into 4 sections. General geography. General geography means there are a lot of divisions of general geography. That is solar system. Like that, solar system, air, atmosphere, climate, etc. All these are included in general geography papers, temperature, humidity, cloud, etc. And in case of physical geography, whenever you read the NCERT book, there is a division in physical geography. Physical geography means plains, plateaus, mountains, mountain ranges, then water bodies, flora, fauna, river system, forest, agriculture, etc. All these include in physical geography. And you can read this general geography and physical geography from 6th standard to 12th standard, especially 6th, 7th and 8th standard textbooks covers general geography part. And in physical geography part covers the 8th and 9th standard NCERT geography books. And economic geography. What is economic geography? Here, economic geography means the geography topics covers with the industry, trade, commerce, and agriculture. All these factors include in the economic geography part. Here you can cover economic coverage, industry, agriculture, crop, etc. And the last one is Indian geography. And you can read Indian geography from the textbook, especially the 10th NCERT textbook, class 11 in the principles of geography. There are enough records or enough information you can get from the class 11 NCERT geography textbook. Next, we can discuss about history. How can we start history? The basics of history. Before that, we can divide the history into 4 divisions: ancient history, medieval history, modern history, and Indian national movement. Ancient history means you have to read the important basics from Indus Valley civilization. That was the beginning of Indian history, Indus Valley civilization to 1200. And medieval history means 1200 to 1500 period. That means medieval Indian history, that means that the Hindu rulers and a lot of architectures are there, temples, etc. All these informations are included in medieval Indian history. Rajput's kingdom, Maurya kingdom, like that, Mughal kingdom. A lot of kingdoms are there. A lot of Rajput kingdom, like that. A lot of kingdoms are were in India, and all these information you can collect from the NCERT textbooks from 7th, 8th, and 9th textbooks. Then modern India and Indian national movement. These two sections are very important in prelims and mains. So here, modern Indian history means the historic period from 1500 to 1850. That means we know that 1857 revolt, that is Sepoy mutiny. So in between this period, a lot of historical things happened in India. The British, after the Mughal kingdom, after the Muslim kingdom, English East India Company came to India and they started their rule and they dominated India. They started trade, commerce, industry, etc. And they gradually dominated India. At the same time, a lot of personalities from India, a lot of movements, a lot of struggles happened in India. All these are included in modern Indian history. And Indian national movement means as a period from 1850 to 1947. We got the independence in 1947. In between 1857 revolt to 1947, there are a lot of information regarding the movements, like Mahatma Gandhi and all other freedom fighters are emerged, and a lot of Annie Besant, like that, a lot of freedom fighters, social reform movements happened in India. All this included in Indian national movement. You can get all this information from 6th to 12th standard NCERT textbooks. Then next, polity and constitution. Polity and constitution is very important in prelims and mains. And before you understand, before you read the standard textbook, you can go to the 10th and 11th NCERT political science textbook. And from this textbook, you can study, you can easily understand what is schedules, what is amendments, what is parts, what is articles, what is administration, what is central government, what is state government, like that. What are the roles of Prime Minister, President of India, like that. A lot of simple notes are there in 10th and 11th political science NCERT textbooks. The next, Indian economy, how to work Indian economy. Indian economy means we can divide Indian economy into economic development, human development index, demographics, population planning, banking sectors, Reserve Bank of India, and monetary policies, reverse repo, what is repo rate, reverse repo rate, etc. All these are the theoretical part. We can read this Indian economy, fundamentals of Indian economy, through +1 and +2 NCERT textbooks. Class 11 and 12 NCERT textbook, you can get the fundamental, the basics, very basics of Indian economic theories. Here, next is how NCERT works for the conventional science. That means conventional science means, we already said that in Indian civil service examination, the last syllabus topic was general science. We already discussed in the first part of this session. So here the science can be divided into three: physics, chemistry, and biology. How this physics, chemistry, and biology works in this examination. So let us discuss that. You can, if you are interested in physics, you can go to the NCERT textbook. Or, but at the same time, it is not important to read all the scientific informations. You can select. If you are interested in physics, you can give more time to physics or biology. It depends on you. Whether if you are coming from an arts background, I think it's something difficult to understand all the scientific terms and scientific facts. Just go through the science textbook. And you can use this textbook in the 8th standard, 9th standard, and 10th standard. These three divisions, these standards textbooks are enough to cover the science part of the civil service examination. Then, how to make notes from NCERT. It's very important whenever we start reading the NCERT textbook in order to build up our basics of subjects. You have to make sure that you have to make notes from NCERT. These are the steps whenever you start notes. The first one is read through in between lines. That means you have to keep relaxed and read each paragraph very slowly and with clarity. That means read through in between lines. More importance of concepts and facts. You need not to point the facts from the NCERT. Instead, you have to point out the concepts of the facts, concepts of the NCERT. Facts is less important, and the concept is important here. And the next one is conventional theory. What is conventional theory means? When you start reading a chapter, you have to go through the conventional theoretical part of the textbook. That means when you start reading about the Himalayas, the Himalayan range, you have to understand. You need not to point out the heights of the Himalaya like that. You have to study the concept. What are the use of Himalayas in India? What are the climate pattern in India with the effect of Himalayas like that? You have to follow these concept-oriented notes. Then next is the next step of understanding the basic is that revise your NCERT notes. We already said that after completing the NCERT standard textbooks, then you can go to geography, especially for example, after completing the geography NCERT books, you can go to Goching Leong. It's a standard textbook and it's very useful. So Goching Leong physical geography, it's a reference text, and after completing Indian economy, you can go to the remersing like that. So this you can use this NCERT and then go to the next step of standard reference textbook. And after preparing your notes, you have to revise your NCERT notes before prelims, mains, and interview. That means when you start preparing for this examination, you have to keep your notes safe, and it will be useful for your first, second, and third, or that means the final stage of this exam. So you have to keep revising your notes. Then the next session, let's discuss about how to work map, how to make notes, and how to study the maps or atlas, and the relevance of atlas in IAS examination. We can divide atlas into 3 sections: physical atlas, political atlas, and economic atlas. Here, physical atlas means the physical locations of the world or India. That means the location map of the rivers, mountain ranges, etc. Forest, all these informations are named as a physical atlas. And the political atlas means transportations, the boundaries of the world, boundaries of India, and the boundaries of the states of India. And the transportation, that means political atlas, also includes the transportation system. That means roadways, airways, and waterways. And the third one is economic atlas. Here, economic atlas means that the major locations concentrating the industry, trade, agriculture, all these are included in the economic atlas. Then, types of map study. How can we study the map, Indian map or world map? So we can divide the map into 2, conventional map study and current affairs map study. Here, conventional map study means whenever you go through the NCERT textbook, you have to note down or you have to draw the map of India or the world and mark the relevant places or locations. That is conventional map study. As example, Palakkad Gap, Vembanad Lake. We know that whenever we read about Vembanad Lake, you have to go through the atlas and mark it where the Vembanad Lake situates. Vembanad Lake situates in the Kerala, the state India. Like that, a lot of locations, a lot of places are in India or the world. And when you read about a place or location, you have to take your atlas and mark it or pin this place. And the next one is current affairs map study. How can we study maps to current affairs? That means we already discussed about reading techniques of the newspaper. When you read newspaper, if there is a place mentioned in the news, especially the news importance of a place, for example, a new industry, new nuclear places like that, a new coal inventions like that, a new place on news, you have to make notes. At the same time, you have to draw a map or locate the place. That's very important, and this will be useful for your mains examination. Whenever you write the mains exam, you can use these techniques, and it will be very attractive for the examiners. Then when you work with your map, you have to, I circle this, Australia and some continents are here, and we know that the 7 continents in the world, and you have to, whenever you start study the map, world map, go through the continents, Asia, Australia, like Asia, Africa, Europe, etc. You can go you can go through the continents and understand the basic locations, important locations, natural places, physical locations, like that. You can go through this. So it is easy to understand through the continents. You have to follow these techniques. Continent-wise studies is the best. The next is how to study India map. Here we marked a lot of locations in Assam. You know that currently the floods. Then we can see the news, flood in Assam and Telangana, the new states of India. And we know that Trivandrum here, the Trivandrum, the Sri Padmanabha Swami temple, and the Supreme Court engaged in this case and finalized a verdict, like that. So whenever you read a newspaper, if there is a location, or if there is an importance in the location, you have to take map and analyze. Here, Leh, Ladakh, like that. A lot of northern India, southern India, like that. You have to locate the place. So in this way, you can study the India map. And besides this, you can study the South Indian states, Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, like that. And with order, you can study the locations or the structure of the physical structure or the political structure of India map. Here, let's discuss the phase 3. That means the study material. After start reading the newspaper and after preparing the NCERT textbook, we can go to the phase 3. That means the final stage of this preparation. That it is a crucial time. That means just months before the examination, or just 1 year before the examination, you have to collect the study materials for prelims and mains. Here I listed the name of books and materials useful for the prelims examination. Here the current affairs, we already discussed. You can read the Hindu newspaper and internet, government websites, and 2 magazines are there, Yojana and Kurukshetra. And these 2 magazines you can get from New Delhi. That means you can subscribe it. The 200 or 300 rupees per year. You can subscribe the magazine and you can read it. It's a useful magazine, Yojana and Kurukshetra. And the Indian polity, you can use Lakshmikant. Lakshmikant, Indian polity. The name of the text is Indian polity by Lakshmikant. Plus internet. After reading the Lakshmikant textbook, you can update this information or the data with the internet. And the geography. Geography part, you can use the material, that's NCERT textbook from 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th textbooks. And Goching Leong, physical geography by Goching Leong, is a useful material. And atlas, uses school atlas, plus internet. In Indian history, the materials are NCERT, Modern India by Bipin Chandra, or one of the other important book is that Rajiva here, Modern India, and plus internet you can use. Then for Indian economy, NCERT textbooks, Indian Economic Survey, yearbook, internet. Environment. For the section environment, you can use NCERT, Yojana magazines, and the Hindu newspaper, and text from Shankar IAS Academy. And besides this, you can use Ministry of Environment and Forest, the Government of India's website you can use, and it's a useful website. And the last one is general science here, NCERT, the Hindu, and internet. Then how to make notes from the materials. we already listed, or we already discussed about the standard textbook for prelims examination, and how can we use this material. Repeated reading and prepare short notes are the main trick. That means repeated reading. You have to read repeatedly the material, the single material with repetition. And the next one is you have to make notes on with the keywords. You have to that is orogenic effect. There is a for example, I here mentioned that orogenic effect. Orogenic effect means it's a term relating to geography. Orogenic effect means it's an effect, also geographical process we can find in the mountain ranges, and with the effect of this orogenic process we get rain. So it's a keyword. And next is repo rate. What is repo rate? It's a program, or it's a policy from Reserve Bank of India. And what is SEBI? Here, all these are the keywords. In this way, you can write keywords to revise. You can easily revise whenever you write this way. Then next is highlight the point which have deep theory. You have to highlight. You can use the highlighter and highlight your notes, and from this highlighted points you can recollect what you studied. Then next is revise your notes on regular, week and monthly basis. The revision is important in civil service preparation. That means how to revise in a regular week and monthly basis. That means you have to revise yesterday's note, and after that the weekend, that is Saturdays or Sunday, you have to keep revising, and after that at the end of the month you have to revise the whole information, whole notes you already studied in the last month. Like that, revise your notes regular, weekend, monthly basis. And the next is practice with previous question paper. Whenever you completed the reading with a textbook or NCERT, you have to collect the newspaper, collect the previous question papers and worked. And if you have some doubts regarding these points, you go back to the points and again study it. So these are the technique you have to follow when you start preparing with materials. Then the last session of this webinar, let's conclude with this preparation with a case. We know that recently the Kerala government launched it. Now state launched Kerala Administrative Service. So whenever this is a useful entry to the administration, that means when you start preparing for civil service examination, if you crack it or not, it will be useful for your case as well. That means the next case examination, you can use all these preparations, and it will be a good benefit, or it's a benefit preparation for the KS examination as well. And the last KS exam conducted in the February this year. All these are the important things I want to discuss with you, and thank you for listening this session. And here you can, if you have any doubts or queries regarding the sessions, you can communicate with me, and thank you for listening this session.
Thank you, sir. It was exceptionally insightful and informative. Thank you very much for a comprehensive, well-structured, enlightening session. Dear participants, now the session is open for discussion and interaction. I request you all to come forward with your queries, doubts, and questions. Kindly text your doubts and inquiries in the chat box, please. Dear participants, I think there are no more questions, not much questions, and I think you will be contacting our resource person if you have any queries and doubts. Please feel to mail them to the department mail ID, where we shall archive them and answer them in the webinar WhatsApp group at the earliest. We are coming to a close of Threshold 2020. With immense happiness and joy, I would like to invite on screen our beloved head of the department, Dr. Hemalada P., who couldn't join us at the outset of the event due to some technical glitches. I invite you, ma'am, to propose the word of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for your invitation. And now, I thank Mr. Srijesh Jambi for your enlightening and inspiring talk on the strategies and foundations of civil service. I'm sure all the participants would be highly inspired, and I express my gratitude for accepting our invitation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to express my thanks to Hemalada ma'am, and especially give me a chance to interact with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, let me thank our respected principal, Father Dr. Jolly Andrews, for giving us all the support for conducting this webinar. Now, I extend my gratitude to our accuracy coordinator, Dr. Robinson. Without her support, this webinar would not have materialized. I extend my thanks to the technical staff members who helped us unlimitedly for this webinar, especially in the current social situation. Now, my gratitude to all the members of the staff of the department for their cooperation. And I thank all the participants for attending this webinar. Thank you all once again.
Hello, sir.
Hello, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Sir, we have a few questions.
Okay.
Okay, shall we take them?
Oh, sure, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. One Mr. Abhiram Baburaj is asking, which is the best bachelor's degree to be taken for civil service?
Bachelor degree.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, there is no strict degree for that. We can select any degree, or science, BA, BSc, or BCom, or MA, or a technical degree or medical degree, whatever. And after that, we have to improve our passion and start reading and all. That's enough. That's enough.
Thank you, sir. We have another question.
Okay.
One Miss Naina Das. She's asking the question. So many of them told me that to choose history instead of politics for my degree. Is it good, sir?
No, ma'am. It's not. It's not compulsory. Actually, I'm an English graduate. After completing my post graduation, I went to Trivandrum and start preparation. And my optional paper was geography. Actually, that time geography was very tough to me, but gradually I covered the syllabus. I think history, whatever the subject, I think there is no the constant trends of this exam. We can choose the subject or the papers with our own taste. That means before selecting a paper or before selecting a subject, we have to understand, we have to analyze ourselves that is it possible to continuous reading and material, availability of material. All these are the relevant here. And I think according to the recent trends, there is no enough result from history or political science from Kerala. So I don't think so. History and political science is important, or is a best medium to select.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Shall we go for the next question, please?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yes. One Mr. Kumar Nama has raised a question. What are the best institutions for coaching?
Ma'am, here in Kerala or outside Kerala?
He hasn't specified that.
Okay, in Kerala, we have coaching institutes in Trivandrum. There's an institute in Kerala State Civil Service Academy as under the Kerala government. And besides this, a lot of private institutions are there in Trivandrum. I think Island IAS Academy and Enlight IAS Academy, all these two academies are recently got good feedback. And if we have a basic understanding, basic knowledge regarding this exam, we can prepare this examination without the help of coaching centers. I never prefer the coaching center, and I suggest the coaching centers. That it depends on personal. That means if a person has a passion regarding this exam and basic understanding, he can or she can continue her reading and study with the help of internet and basic materials without the help of coaching, without any coaching institutes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Another question raised by Effin Benny.
Okay.
When can we expect the entrance of Kerala State Civil Service Academy?
Okay, I think the entrance examination conducting every year, and this year's entrance examination will be on August or September.
Thank you, sir. Another question from Ms. Beena. Sir, could you please tell about optional subjects?
Optional subjects, there are 25 optional subjects in UPSC Civil Service Examination. And besides this, 22 language optional papers, including Malayalam. And additionally, these 22 language papers, there is English optional papers here. And whenever we go through this optional papers, we can divide the optional papers into different sections. And a student from or an aspirant from science background choose this optional paper like agriculture, animal husbandry, anthropology, botany, chemistry, physics, psychology, veterinary, statistics, geology, zoology, medical science, and mathematics. All these are optionals in the side of science. And inside of technical side, civil engineering and electrical engineering. And in the commerce point of view, there are optional papers, commerce and accountancy, economics and management. And a student from an arts background can choose these optionals. I think these optionals are the best. History, law, philosophy, political science, international relations, public administration, sociology, and geography. Here I selected geography during my preparation. So geography is the best option. It's a science subject, but at the same time, an arts background student can easily cover the syllabus.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Ms. Densha Davis has raised a question. Which type of laws will be asked for the exam?
Ma'am, laws means?
LAWS. Which type of laws? Yeah,
Okay.
legal.
Okay. Generally, UPSC asks the questions from the law. That means the last 1 years of Supreme Court verdicts or new bills, woman child development or like that. We know that the Nirbhaya case like that, the national important or controversial cases, and after that Supreme Court involved in it or the Parliament involvement in it, and they introduced or amended a law like this. All these amendments, new rules, etc. It's enough.
Okay, sir. We have Ms. Anamika Naveen raising a question as if there are any negative marks.
Yes, from 2007 onwards, UPSC introduced negative marking system. That means in prelims case, there will be a negative marking, but in case of mains, there is no negative mark. That means the mains examination is a descriptive type exam, and we have to prepare, or we have to get ready to write 1 mark question and 100 mark question in the same topic. For example, we can take Vizhinjam project in Trivandrum. We know that the new project going to happen in Kerala, that is Vizhinjam. And a candidate or an aspirant, a civil service aspirant, prepare the notes and information about Vizhinjam for 1 mark, at the same time for 100 mark. That means we have to read, elaborate reading is required.
Okay, thank you, sir.
In case of prelims, there will be negative marking. That means 3 wrong answer considered as a negative.
All right, sir. One last question from Ms. Shamima MT. I want to know about the mains exam. I wish to select the subject geography. How do I refer the books? Or which books should I refer? I think that's what she meant.
Okay. In a mains examination, we have to opt 1 optional papers. If it is a geography, geography is a science subject. At the same time, an arts background, an arts oriented subject, geography. For geography, we can use materials. In optional paper geography, there are 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. In paper 1, theoretical geography, that means physical geography, climatology, geomorphology, environmental geography, like that. So for the paper 1, we have to opt the materials like physical geography by Savindra Singh, Goching Leong, physical geography, then Stroller and Stroller, physical geography. These 3 materials are commonly used for the paper 1. And the paper 2 optional paper geography, that is Indian geography. Indian geography is as a generalized question pattern. So we have to read the newspaper very well and update with the Indian context, Indian states and Indian boundaries with geographical, physical, political, economic background of geographical information. And for that, we can use Kuller, the material Kuller, Indian geography. Physical geography by Kuller, the first material. The second one is physical geography by Majid Hossain. And third material is the magazine, that is Down to Earth. It's a magazine, it's a famous magazine. And through this magazine, they covered almost all geographical news which happening around us. And besides this, we can go to the National Geographic Channel. If we select a geography, we have to watch National Geographic Channel or environmental channels. That will be more useful.
All right, sir. The same participant has raised another question whether distance degree is allowed for civil service.
Yes, distance degree is allowed.
Okay,
UGC
sir.
approved. We must be a degree holder. The UGC approved. No matter which university, which college, if it is private study or distance study, no matter. If we pass the degree with a just pass mark, just 35% of mark, we can apply the exam and crack.
All right, sir. We have a few more questions. Are you
Okay.
ready to take them? Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Okay. We have, yeah, Mr. Hemant Ramesh asking any advices for IFS aspirants?
IFS.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
IFS aspirant.
Okay, ma'am. There are two IFSs are here: Indian Forest Service and Indian Foreign Service. Before, Indian Forest Service was included in civil service, but now they separated this examination in the different level, and UPSC conducted prelims examination for Indian Forest and Foreign Services. But in case of civil service, there's a foreign services. It's a good service, and we can serve our our service time, our service duration mainly concentrate on the abroad. That means different countries, different nations, as an ambassador or a secretary for the country. It's a good service.
All right, sir. Another question by Nandana Babu.
Okay.
Is UPSC conducting separate exams for economic service, forest service, statistical service, etc.?
Okay, yes, right. UPSC conducting this examination separately for the statistical service, economic service, and forest service, and civil service. All these exams are separate.
Okay, so dear participants, we are leaving certain questions out because they have already been answered by the resource person. One more question, sir. Sir, your opinion about genetics as an optional subject by Radhika Murali.
Genetics.
Genetics.
Actually, genetics it came under medical science, right, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Actually, I'm from an arts background, and medical science. I actually I don't know about the medical field, and I don't know about the syllabus. I think if a person come from the thorough in a science background, it's good. I think less competition we can face whenever we choose the areas like medical science. It's not a common. It's not a common platform. I think it's the best. But actually, I'm not a person to explain elaborately about the science subject. Actually, I don't know the correct idea about the syllabus, UPSC syllabus in the field of science.
All right, sir. Okay. We have two more questions.
Okay.
Ms. Nimita Babu has asked, shall I choose Malayalam as my medium of writing main examination?
Okay, we can choose Malayalam for mains. We said about 9 purpose in civil service mains examination. The 9 purpose in this 9 purpose, there are 2 papers are qualifying papers. That is Malayalam and English. Compulsory paper. This is a qualifier paper and a compulsory paper. And except these 2 papers, remaining 7 papers we can write in our own language, Malayalam. GS papers, for GS papers, optional papers, and essay. All these papers we can write in Malayalam.
All right, sir. So, dear participants, we have come to a close of the Q&A session. If you have any more questions, feel free to mail them to the department's mail ID, where we shall archive them and answer them in the webinar WhatsApp group at the earliest. To the attention of all the participants of Threshold 2020, the feedback form for this orientation is provided in the live chat box as well as in the national webinar WhatsApp group. I request you to kindly do fill them up.
Ma'am, if any queries or doubts regarding the preparation and all other doubts, they can contact me, or they can mail me, or they can message me, and I will reply as soon as possible.
All right, sir. All right, sir. They are hearing you anyway. Thank you, sir. I believe our resource person has answered almost every question in a convincing and reasonable way. Thank you, sir, again.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Hema ma'am, and thank you, Adila ma'am. Thank you so much.
Dear participants and viewers, we have come to an end of Threshold 2020. It was really a wonderful and fascinating time that we all shared. A fantastic opportunity to all the young aspirants to ponder over and prepare themselves for a bright future ahead. It is my pleasure to thank the entire team behind Thresholds 2020 who have put in their valuable time and efforts to make this webinar a successful and memorable event. On my personal behalf and on behalf of English department, I thank all of you for sparing your valuable time to be a part of this virtual get-together in spite of the current social situations. Have a nice day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you
Thank you,
again.
ma'am. Thank you.